Thanks for the nice introduction, dear OJ, dear members of the World Affairs Council, ladies and gentlemen, and also on my side a special welcome here to our young guns. I'm really pleased that you attend such venues, and I heard you have the perfect choice in your course. This is about manufacturing, and yeah, I'm very touched and pleased. And again, for us as BMW, we're honored to be here and share some thoughts about our future. Could easily talk for sure, at least 2 to 3 hours, but Klaus told me it's only about 25-30 minutes, so please kick me here off if I'm too long, but for sure there's a lot to tell, and I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse, mainly what we are doing in Spartanburg, what's our success story, and how we do the active transformation towards the future. And Klaus, I can assure you, at least for my perception, and we are preparing for that for the next 10 years or more, the combustion engine is not dead, and you will see this later. So we are embedded here as a plant Spartanburg in a worldwide production network. So we are at least 30 plants on a worldwide basis, and we share the same production philosophies, share the same production principles, and yeah, having here also for sure a close lineup how we figure this out and how we experience together. And the production, it's important, follows the market. Myself personally, I maybe seen every one of the biggest plants, also working for years in China, including Mexico and so forth. It's really, really vital that production and again manufacturing is one of the key aspects here to win the future, to win over the future is a vital portion. Out of plant Spartanburg, we are not only producing the vehicles here for the US and also for abroad. We are also supplying 800,000 vehicles in the world. You see here, we are talking a little bit upfront. It's at the moment about tech decoupling, about world scaling a little bit more apart, but specifically also in the automotive industry, we are so closely connected together, sharing same suppliers, sharing the same global strategies. So we are for sure proud to support here the world, but we are embedded and we have to handle 700 suppliers here, specifically in the USMCA region, accounting to 1,000 trucks coming each and every day through Spartanburg and handling 7 billion of parts each and every day inside the plant. The business environment, as we said, also for the automotive industry, is keeping volatile. For sure, a couple of issues. They are at the moment on a much better level than it had been 1-2 years before. Hoping really we don't see any future impacts on the pandemic in nearby futures. Part shortage, I think luckily at the moment momentum get onwards, but we still see bigger needs specifically on rare earth materials, specifically also on semiconductors, having the right production capabilities also at our suppliers. The supply chain was hit at least 2 years with a huge disruption all over the world, globally with the shutdowns in China. We have to flew a lot of parts and then mastered it quite well, but it was really, really a big stretch. And knowing specifically in the automotive industry, not only from BMW, but roughly 80% of the parts are coming from the suppliers. And so to have a kind of really precise supply chain is important. And only one missing part, you cannot ship the cars. So you all want to have perfect cars, that's for sure. Geopolitics, we have been largely hit by the war in the Ukraine. So, for example, a lot of wiring harness manufacturers have been located there, and we have to maneuver around and to look for other supply possibilities. Luckily, this is now back in operation. You all know the tensions between Taiwan and China, also the US, where we have to take a closer look on it about sourcing strategies. And the climate change is vital for sure. BMW is sticking to the Paris climate agreement, but to really cope on the supply chain, on the product, I'll tell you later, and for sure also on the production side, to reduce the CO2 emissions is vital for us and really drive us towards the future. We, and not only we have a big impact here, as Klaus told us here in the US. We call US for us the second home. So Baden-Württemberg is the single biggest plant of BMW worldwide, supplying over 400,000 vehicles to the worldwide market demands. We celebrated the groundbreaking last year, the 30th anniversary. Now in the 31st year, we started the production in 1994 with the 3 Series. And the annual impact here in the Carolinas, but also in the US, we have a study here of 2018. Over 40 billion of US dollars are the economic impact, and over 120,000 jobs are created, BMW, including sales, which wouldn't exist otherwise. And 90% of our total economic impact of the US for sure comes here from the south, from the Carolinas, out of Baden-Württemberg. So a big lever here for the US and for sure also for South Carolina. For example, we did a study which was coming out of last year. So that the overall economic impact in South Carolina, including I think second and third party business, including suppliers, is worth more than 26 billion of US dollars. And more than 40,000 jobs are created. And so investing in such a business have a continuous growth. This pays off. So we are always told by government officials and the local authorities that we largely supported here the wells and the growing wells in the upstate, and here you can see it. So there's a big lever here in investing and also in manufacturing pays off for the society. This is exactly what this shows. 5%, by the way, of the manufacturing jobs are coming from BMW and the overall business. And looking also to here is also a big lever, I think, where we can increase even further. Looking to a comparison, United States, South Carolina. So the South here gets an economic powerhouse, it's an automotive powerhouse, and to really invest in the future, and I'll show it later, with all the investments now coming here to the South, is really worth to do. But again, it's about mastering this growth and about having and overtaking all the challenges here. And at least over the 14 years, you also see clearly we have been since the beginning here with maybe 1-2 spikes, 2008, and so in a continuous growth model. Our investments double. We are now up to nearly 13 billion US dollars of investment here in the US. We are legal for 11,000 jobs only in the plant. You've seen the figures up to over 40,000 before for the whole scope in South Carolina. And for us also important, we have a direct market entry. So we have been able with our model lineup really to increase here the percentage of the US sales. So now 60% and more of the BMW sold in the area are coming here right out of South Carolina, right out of Baden-Württemberg. And for us it's important because we are a premium manufacturer and we are not selling 10 million vehicles per year. So for us the export model is a very important one. So as you know, we have over 400,000 vehicles delivered here from Baden-Württemberg to the world. 160,000 or 70,000 are going to the US. The rest is going to 120 countries along the globe and worldwide. So for us, it's really vital to have this future business model ongoing with on the one side having good access here to logistics avenue like the port of Charleston, for example, which we have a fantastic relationship. It is really important to have kind of the right value streams with suppliers, with inbound logistics settled around, and having here on-time delivery to the customer's needs. And therefore, again, we won the title of the biggest car US exporter here in the US, the 9th years in a row. And this is, I think, a really remarkable story because we need this. We don't have here, can only stand on one foot here in the US. And we ship the cars, so the biggest three markets is Germany, is China, and it's also Korea. Yeah, and as you see here, the growth also happening in the plant with construction over the years to come. It is important to cope with this growth, only to every time looking, what could happen in 5 to 10 years, how you can figure out and the plant setup, what models you can anticipate, what offers you can also make to the headquarter, and this went out quite well. And I think there was kind of a discussion in the early 90s why BMW needs such a big land, and so we are now more than happy to have this this big land. I think Max joined largely the negotiations and discussions in this time, and we are more than happy now to have this land because we are nearly filled up in the plant. So I'll show you later for the next production entities we have to go outside the plant, and it was also here a wise decision to invest in the future and really go for a bigger scope. Maybe not knowing at the time at the investment what to come in details, but able to grow and take here the economies of scale. And again, this 400, maybe to have a better imagination, this over 400,000 vehicles, if you divide it here, are legal for 1,500 vehicles per day, including also Saturday production, 2 by 10 hour shift models, what we are figuring out here. And 1,500 cars, if you put them all alongside together and multiply maybe with I don't know, 5 meters, whatever, then you can easily calculate what's coming on the street each and every day only for Plant Spartanburg. And how this overall production scheme might happen, because again, if one part is missing, then the line will stop and we cannot produce anymore. So this really have to be a default-free process to make this all happen. A little bit also talking about the past. You see here the continuous growth over the years, and I just heard here a couple of years ago the 100,000 were quite a bit of a challenge in the mid 90s. Maybe also from the product side, we had a couple of remarkable things here in the US. So we restarted after the C1 here, the C3 and the C4 production. We invented again the Roadster segment, but the biggest lever, this also was invented here in Plant Spartanburg, was the SAF and SUV segment. So the X5 in the late 90s, setting up here, we as BMW created a totally new segment which wasn't on the market upfront, and therefore we gained momentum with a couple of other derivatives like the X3, the X7, and now the all-new, brand-new BMW XM. By the way, a fantastic car to drive. It's really makes fun. And as you can see here, we have the full lineup. So we have also M models. We have also plug-in hybrids, the X3, the X5, and also the XM is a hybrid car. And meaning that also production is about handling of complexity. So you can order specifically on the European market, you can specify your car, and we have then to bring this in the order pipeline and to bring this in the production sequence with all the supplier to perfectly match here our customer demands. And as you easily can imagine, maybe as one example, throughout the year, no car model is equal than other ones. They're all different, not only from the color, the engine, the countries where they're going. mentioned upfront 120 countries where we have to deliver, but they all have specific needs. They all have specific need in terms of homologation, making the car ready, and therefore, again, it's key for us to handle this complexity to really cope in an appropriate way with the customer demands. And again, I have to show it again. I think here the lineup with the XM, the most powerful BMW car on the street. As I said, the first one after the M1, branded as an M car, pure M car, and yeah, really makes fun to drive with the combination of electric and combustion engine, specifically from 0 to 60. So you feel amazed. This I can guarantee you. Yeah, looking towards the future. I think BMW, maybe talking a little bit about this, is in the full swing towards electromobility, but not only to electromobility. So we think that the technology openness at the moment, this might change maybe in 10 years. Nobody has the glass ball, or it's really the wisdom what's happened. But at least for the next 10 years and plus, it's very vital to be technology open. And why is this? Because I think also, as you know, we are delivering to the world market. We have different needs in different countries. Europe, maybe at the moment also forced by government laws. The 2035, as you all know, there is the cut out of the combustion engine cars. We see here in the US, specifically in the south, so that the growth of the electric vehicle is a little bit in a slower growth mode. We see also, by the way, in China, there's a huge increase in electromobility, but more in the segment of cars below $30,000. I think they have really $20,000 to $30,000. So the premium segment at the moment is not as touched as this lower segment, and also driving bigger distance, even in China. I think we see the trend is still to a bigger extent towards the combustion engine. But again, nobody knows, and to really predict what happens is difficult, and therefore the key is to be flexible. The key is to be flexible and to react the quickest way to customer demands. And this implies also to have a full scope. It is unimportant if you can react, for example, in the plant from one to the other day. If the supplier cannot deliver the parts, the batteries, whatever, then you cannot ship the car. So you have always to have a look that you orchestra and really plan for the complete range here of our production. And therefore, I think this is always a little bit in the planning, also over all the globe is in BMW to really set it up and cope with the flexibility to have the quickest possible reaction times, because nobody can anticipate. And also that you get a feeling the investments here in electromobility, they are so huge. So you have to really take into account what you do, that the investment pays off. And as we come to it in a second, did here alone for Plant Spartanburg, this $1.7 billion US dollar investments. This is happening throughout the whole BMW world. And if you sum it up, so this is even for a 150,000 people company as BMW with a 3-digit billion turnover. This is quite a bunch of investment, and it has to become effective. Otherwise, you sit on some nice deal and you cannot utilize it. So think what you do. But again, now coming to here, the US. As you have seen, since then we had no full electrified vehicles in our lineups. This is also to the model cycles. We had other nice electrified vehicles, as you all know, the brand new i7, for example, the iX, the i4. That I wanted to also have put them personally on the street in my last assignment in Munich. So we already have a good model lineup, but for sure we have also to prepare here Plant Spartanburg for the next generations to come in this e-mobility. And therefore, again, also for us in South Carolina, it's important to always anticipate customer demands, market demands, and this flexibility. and also to do this investment in the best flexible way to react in a very, very quick mode. And last year in October, we did this announcement. How we do this, I will show you later on with this 1.7 million US dollars. 700 millions we have to invest in a new battery assembly. And by the way, also an issue at the moment, all the combustion engines are coming out of Europe, the UK, Munich, and Austria. In the future, the electric drivetrain, including the battery cells, because they are much heavier, much more difficult to transport. We have also the issue that for sure that we want to be part here of the local programs. Are mainly coming from the local to local strategy, coming where the cars are built. And therefore, we are not doing only the battery assembly, for example, here in South Carolina. We also have been able to move the battery cell supplier, a company Envision, also to the border here of South Carolina in close proximity to really have them close by. Yeah, talking about the investment, I think it's really tremendous what happened here in the last 6 months in the Carolinas. This is also competition coming here to Columbia with Scout. We see huge investments on the battery side. Talking about the vision, talking about also having the complete value chain with recycling here down. In nearby Charleston. You're familiar here in North Carolina with the lithium and also the refinement of the lithium, which is quite vital to really have them also close by and not dependent elsewhere in the world with the raw materials. And so such big investments here in such a short time, this is amazing. This is me personally, I haven't experienced even working 4 years in China where also speed is quite vital, but this investments in 6 months in more or less, I think South Carolina has 5 million people living downstairs is amazing, and also a good signal here for our future progress about our robustness of the operation. But on the other side, again, a huge burden then how to make it happen. You can do it on the paper, and you need people to run, you need the equipment to run, you need to do the construction upfront. So even if you have the money from wherever, from the owners, from the banks, you have to do this. And again, talking about vehicle production, if only one small piece is missing, then you don't ship the vehicle. So again, here having the basis is set, but now we have to make it happen. And therefore, again, I'm quite happy here. If we are sitting on the porch in our rocking chair, and here you, the young guns, you have to make this happen. Huh? But I'm pretty sure you will do so. I'm convinced. Here you see that we don't build a new plant with the investment. So it's more or less now a continuous 3-4 years operation at an open heart. And here our biggest assembly hall, which have been set up 2008, is now undergoing a huge transformation. And therefore, maybe pointing out, you see here the ground excavation. The guys planning and doing this 15 years ago, they act cleverly because they also anticipated possible growth, maybe happening in maybe 5 years, 20 years, nobody knows. But also here, having this flexible manner and attitude within, and designing this assembly with a so-called finger structure that you can easily expand and increase the demands of this assembly line. And this is this is looking today with 3 fingers, as you see here, and expanding these fingers and adding additional ones. This is what this assembly hall will look like in 2026. So also here, it's every time important to cope with this flexible approach, and also to make this happen under full swing in operation. So meaning we transform while we perform. And Again, this electrified vehicles, you have to take care how you bring the battery in, how you cope with the electric drivetrain. You're adding another 500K in the weight, so you have to talk about how you do this. You have to train the people, and all this is happening at the same time and together under certain premises. And as I mentioned, we have the battery cells. These are round cells. You have a little bit maybe the shape like the glass, a little bit smaller, but the same height. And you have to combine more than 1,000 of these round cells in one big package. You have to weld them together, put them in a casing, and also a highly automated process, by the way. And this cannot be happen anymore inside our plant fences. We are moving abroad in the vicinity of Woodruff, which is 10 miles south of the plant, connected with the highway 101, and building here. This is at the moment just happening. The ground excavation started, a complete new facility from the scratch. 1,000 people, roughly 700,000 people needed to run this operation, including the plant premises. And these people you have to qualify, you have to find on the market, you have to train, to teach. Also, because the development is largely done in Europe, in Munich, have to send them over to be ready here for a very steep ramp up, because we expect having at least 6 fully electrified vehicles until 2030 out of Plant Spartanburg. The demand will be crucial, and therefore we have to prepare right now. Now it's about really shaping and creating the future together. Additionally, I mentioned logistics is key. We are focusing on the value adding first, but without parts, without the right quality, all is nothing. And here in the plant, you're all aware of the just-in-time, just-in-sequence processes to have really less stock and have really, as we are producing the cars in a certain sequence, how we call it, the parts, especially the bigger ones, really have to be fitted in the right sequence on time. And it's vital to have here the logistics close by and not elsewhere in Mexico or wherever. So we invested here, and you've seen this in the movie, in the logistics center close by, and having here really a 5-minute supply to the line, which is also again vital to cope with the complexity. You see the complete model line that every car is a different one. We need to have this logistics capability on site. Also, as I mentioned, the Port of Charleston logistics-wise is important. We also are really proud and happy that we have here our airport, is 2 miles away here from our assembly lines. And the wheels down to having the parts on the line, including custom, is about 90 minutes somehow, if it's really time critical. And as you've seen, all the changes and the challenges in the supply chain over the last year, it was really vital that we could produce this high amount of cars. Without this airport and this close proximity, this might be on a different level. But again, I want to emphasize, don't underestimate logistics to orchestrate this. There's also, in terms of the money you could spend here, is a huge portion, and for sure you could jeopardize the business if you're not putting a proper focus on it. In addition, and we are very proud, which a plant of our size, we set up also a new press shop, meaning we have at least the outer skin parts, and for sure we as a premium manufacturer, our BMW is interior and exterior. The exterior comes from the sheet metal part, the thin lines, and really nice and touchy cars. And therefore, our own press shop is vital to have on site. Also creates additional jobs and saves money on the other side. And this setup is here in a full swing, and we start the operation next year to cope with the next models. Yeah, and also, as I said, the car production is people business. For sure, it's team sport because you always have to launch cars together, to work closely with the engineering department, the purchasing, and to find common solution. And sometimes it's not always one way. There's maybe also about finding the right compromises, not in customer quality, but making the one or the other process happen. So team sport, teamwork is really, really a big level to have. But the other is having the right skills. And as you see here, and also seen in the film, we do not only need engineers, we also need trained people who are able to maintain the robots, for example, who are able to program the robots, who are also doing the proper planning on the new facilities, and having also the right skills to cope with the future needs in electromobility. And on the market, if you've seen all the investments, it might be very difficult to get the right qualifications right now, but even more in the future. So the right setup in our view is, and we have at the moment 200 apprentices or scholars here working and learning in our facilities, is doing the training ourselves. And therefore, because you always cannot change the first impression, we have been able, also with a huge support from government, to set up here our new training center, which really can cope with all the future demands and also the possibilities to train and to teach the people in the right way. In addition to that, I think the collaboration with colleges, with university, and then also the technical colleges, which substantially in Spartanburg is quite vital, is key really to advert to market also and again, I'm coming here to you, doing the right way, having here this manufacturing business upfront your future career. But you have to lobby on it. I'm now working 25 years in the industry, and I love to do it every day, producing something, because you work with people together. You can easily see what you do during the day, if you're in a bad shape, in a good shape, counting at the morning the associates, and evening you count the cars, and then you see easily if it's a good or a bad day. But I love to create, to shape something, and I'm again pretty sure that this capability to manufacturing have been dramatically reduced in the whole industry over the last 20, 40 years. It's about outsourcing and offshoring and going wherever. This is key, to be flexible, to have the right reaction times to customer demands, and to cope not only with engineering, but also how you do it, and how you do it 1,500 times a day and in the right shape and in the right quality with the people. And so again, training is key, and we are more than happy to have this new training center here on site. And last but not least, we are part of the community. And again, it's also every time important to give something back to the community. Max has been the teacher of the year. For example, we have summer training classes, we plant trees, we sponsor here the golf tournament, we help young families to build their houses, and it's really key to have here also an orchestrated impact in the community. And as I have shown, I think specifically the people here in the south, in the Carolinas, are very grateful that we started together the operation. We from BMW, calling here the second home, are grateful to be here and being part of the community. Yeah, and we hope this, and we are sure this way also with our plans, which we have together, is ongoing. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the end before I'm awaiting your feedback and question. I think could demonstrate that I think we are since over 30 years really one big part here of the growth, the value adding, the transformation coming from the textile industry also here in the south towards an economic powerhouse here in the south of the US. Again, also elaborating, in my personal point of view, that it is key to be flexible, knowing that the combustion engine will not be dead in the nearby future, maybe in 15, 20 years, nobody knows, but not the next 10 years. We have to keep this flexibility, we have to invest this flexibility, we have to anticipate this flexibility, and also finding smart solutions. Flexibility, you can easily do it fully blown, then it costs a hell amount of money, nobody could bear, but finding clever solutions and reacting on this. And again, it's with all the, the investments towards the future, it is vital that we shape and create the future ourselves, not waiting too much for third parties, orchestrating the one or the other thing. Rolling off the sleeves and doing it. Thanks for your attendance, and thank you so far.
Thank you, Dr. Engelhorn. Is this on?
Yes.
I'm Steve Hunting. Great honor to serve on the board of the World Affairs Council, and we have time for a few questions. And so, if you will, there may be a microphone floating around. If you'd like to ask a question, raise your hand. I'll try to signify a few people, and when you stand up, maybe say your name and you're from, and we're going to start with the gentleman in the white shirt in the back.
Young ones, I like it.
So my name is Andre, and my question is how the new AI tools are helping you in your business today.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very important question. Meaning, I think artificial intelligence and the digital world largely contributes to our business. I think we have so many data in the production system. And by the way, if the IT get a crash, we don't produce any single car, by the way. So this is also important. But it's all about, and coming back to the process, about improving quality, improving efficiency, and therefore I think the huge amount of data what we have is really vital to know what's happening, to know maybe where are the improvement points, and for example, I think. Labeling. If you send cars with a missing labeling to China, then you're not allowed that the cars go offline the ships and send back. And so for us, it's important to really have a smart camera system and the self-learning system, AI system, to identify that the labels are on, that the labels are for sure the right ones. So maybe even one missing number on this whole label can create some misunderstanding. And to anticipate the needs what we have. For me, it is always important. Digitalization, artificial intelligence have to help the process. So it's not nothing. You first have to think, and then you have to act. Only applying the digital world and then see what's coming out. So this is not the way we want to do it. We have to first see what's happening in the process, and where I can improve it, where I need data, and then full speed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Young lady right there.
My name is Emma Kappe. So I have a question. Bieten Sie auch ein Praktikum an?
Selbstverständlich.
Und wie alt muss man da sein?
Over 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danke.
Yeah. Warmly welcome. Waiting for your application.
Yes, sir. Right here in the blue coat. If you would stand up and maybe say your name, that would be great.
It's the swimmer, right?
Genau, der Schwimmer. Thank you so much.
No, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Engelhorn, for your time today and sharing all these insights with us. My question goes back to supply chains and BMW's solutions to the current geopolitical, but also supply chain interruptions overall. Is going back to local sourcing and producing the answer and solution for tomorrow, or what are your ideas in coping with current supply chain interruptions and the complexity of BMW's production runs?
Yeah, it was really a very, very good question, and I think maybe also not knowing what the future brings. But my personal view is something in between. On the one side, I think we need to really get a broader focus on a certain decoupling, on a certain really decisions where we source, what we source. Also looking, for example, to rare earth materials, that we have a broader scope where we can get them. On the other side, that the world is so embedded. So going back to, I don't know, the 1830s, where you're coming from Germany, then you have here this small, tiny little 3 kilometer square feet countries with taxes and all this stuff. This would help nobody. So we are, as BMW, we truly believe in a free trade approach, but knowing that the world is not an easy one, so you have to balance this out.
Thank you. Maybe up in front here. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I saw some very impressive assembly with robots, etc. Is there any plans with the shift towards the EVs to make more manufacturing downstream within BMW as well? Or how do you see this moving forward?
Yeah, I think if you're talking about automation, for sure the general trend over the last year was a steady increase. For example, in some technologies like body shop and paint shop, we are nearly 100% automized so far. And some others, like the assembly, is still a human-centric business, so to say. And you have always to balance it out, also in terms of the robustness of the system. So if you have a non-robust system, which are more on the stage of trial and error, then we don't need this at our assembly line. So we need really trained, automized solutions. And secondly, I think what we are largely pushing is really because you've seen the issue with getting the right people, and we are also pushing on the logistics to having smart transportation robots. For example, we are pushing to autonomous tuggers running around. So because people is key, and then if you can automate in a good and robust way the one other process, then we will do this.
Thank you. Yes, sir. I'm going to give you my microphone because I'm closer.
All right, my question is, what are the next steps in the plan at Spartanburg to further decrease the CO2 emissions?
Decrease, yeah. No, I think we have a couple of issues on which we are working on. The two main contributors to CO2, they are electricity and gas. And as you have seen in the gas, we have since I think over 20 years applying this methane gas also from landfill, thinking about further possibilities. Have maybe heard the chicken farm, whatever, and for sure also reducing the amount of gas we need. So there's a clear trend also with future investments to be more on the electric side and on the gas side. Second is electricity. And therefore, for sure, we are heading towards more and more green energy. So we have solar panels on our facilities. We want to increase this. We are discussing here with our service providers to increase the green share. And also, this is the portion of the energy. And the other is really to substantially reduce the energy consumption overall in the plant. So meaning that I think you have intelligent robots with less energy. We have invented 7 years ago a new paint shop application, which you save one heating. You have only 3 times the heating instead of 4 times heating. So really lowering down the emissions and coming here towards our goal over 14 years to lower 80% of our CO2 emissions. So there's a clear plan behind.
A young man there.
Hello,
Please say your name.
my name is Nashawn Smith. I'm in 7th grade and I'm attending North Academy of World Languages. And my question is, how do you partner with schools to provide more internships?
I think, as I said, we have this specifically also around us, this good collaboration with the technical colleges, where we want to attract the people, where we get them in our scholarship. We have 4 different scholarship programs into it, and also to set up some first impression days, so to say, in the plant. And we definitely want to enlarge the collaboration with the schools and the technical colleges. But feel free and warmly welcome, as I said before, every time, please apply. And we are happy to have interns and apprentices in the plant.
We have time for one last question. Yes.
Great, thank you. Hi, hello, thank you for your time. My name is Chris Egner, and while I'm a guest of this excellent law firm, McGuire Woods, I'm also an in-house counsel for one of your trusted suppliers, Continental Tire and Automotive. And I have a question about your investment in electrification. While I see that is very impressive investment, how much focus, if any, is BMW giving towards autonomous mobility? Is that still at the forefront for BMW?
Yeah, you touched a good question. I think we are at the moment with one of the best systems in the market with the level 2 plus driving system. Also, by the way, the XM has a perfect one. I can assure you. If you're talking about level 3, the world becomes a little bit more difficult. Me personally, and then we are working closely as others on this to start the first highway applications on this. But there are a lot of legal constraints. You have to also have a clear permission from the state or the country, the community where you are, and you have to talk about also the responsibility, accountability. If something happens, who is then responsible for that? And I think that the technical way, the technique is there at the moment. The way how to level this is then the next step. And the other thing is how the customers perceive this. So at the moment, we see that the demand, maybe for if you're in a traffic jam, for sure you're quite happy to have a level 3 driving. But most of the customers at the moment, they like to drive themselves, and also here how to balance this out, how to figure this out. But this is ongoing, and for sure level 3 is yet to come.
Thank you, everyone, for your great questions. Thank you, Dr. Engelhorn.
Great. I'm Raj Bharadwaj. My day job is at Truist Bank, but it's a privilege for me to also serve on the board of the World Affairs Council of Charlotte. Quick thank you once again to our sponsors, BMW Manufacturing, McGuire Woods, Parker Bow, UNC Charlotte, and VRG Components. With that, I have the honor to present our certificate of appreciation to Dr. Robert Engelhorn.
Thank you. Many thanks. It was really a pleasure being here, audience, and keep on pushing for the manufacturing. This will pay off, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, with that, we are ready to adjourn. We really appreciate your engagement, your support, and if this has piqued your interest in global awareness, international understanding, you want to be more involved, please stop at the World Affairs Council desk on your way out. Thanks again. Have a great rest of the day.